The problem is time. Out of all of the all-German auto products came this little valve keeper installation tool, which saves the technicians a lot of time. All of our products are designed to save time on the repair method, and in the end, the customer time is money, and so money on the repair. When we came out with our valve stem seal replacement tool, which you may have seen the other video on, that allows you to replace the valve stem seals in the N62 engine without removing the intake or the exhaust cam. As an outcome of that, we made this little valve keeper tool. But we got a tremendous response from techs all around the country asking if they can buy this in different configurations. So we have reacted to that and made the tool for a much more rounded application than the N62. Some of you may have seen this in the previous video, but for those that haven't, let me show you really quick what it does. What you do is you have the valve keeper installation tool, and it has these little jaws on it. And so what you do is you just take the keeper and load it in, obviously one on each side, like how it goes in the valve. And then you go on top of the valve and push down, goes click, and the keepers stay on. It's a very time-consuming method to install the keepers, whether you're doing an N62 engine or any other type of engine. So let me show you how it works inside the cylinder head. In this particular application, I'm showing an installation of the keepers on an intake valve using the all-German auto compression tool with the transfer lever in place, which is probably the hardest place where you can get to install a set of keepers. You actually really don't even have a clear view of where it goes on, but it only takes seconds with the keeper tool. So you start by loading the keepers into the tool, like that. And they stay in because of the friction in the tool. And to install them onto the valve, this application is by far the hardest one because of the interference by the intake lever. And you can see right here the interference. It's very, very close, but it's not really critical. Just push it on and pull straight up and the keepers go right on. So this is specific to the N62 engine, but because of the high request for this tool, we have now made it in other applications to cover more models. So for this more traditional application, where we have a cylinder head that utilizes a lifter follower type system, and the valve is sitting way down in a pocket, it makes it really easy to install the keepers with this tool. There's many different types of valve spring compressors out there on the market. Here you have a manual with a pneumatic, makes it pretty easy. I really like this manual type because it statically keeps the valve spring compressed and allows you to free up your hand to install the valves with them. On this one here, you'll note that there's this little protector on here. This is a very, very important little piece. This is another all-German auto product. This is a cylinder head saver, but I'll get back to that in a minute. Of course, there's a regular manual type, non-pneumatic, and then all the different compression style levers. These are commonly used on Mercedes and other applications to compress them in the car or even with the cylinder head out of the car, where you insert a lever under the camshaft and use this as a compression tool. Many different variations. Some of them mount to the head with a bar. Or you may even have a factory bench like this. In this particular case, this is a factory BMW compression bench. It has a foam buffer that keeps all the valves up into the seat area, and a compression lever right here where you can compress the valve spring by force like that. This particular one, the N63, which it seems like the BMW dealers are doing a lot of right now because we're getting a lot of requests for it. We have developed for this extended valve stem a special tool that can push the locks all the way down and engage right on the stem. This saves you a lot of time, especially with this particular application right here. What I don't like about this particular setup is that you have to hold it in compression the entire time. So while pushing down on that, if you're doing it a traditional way with the grease and the screwdriver and fighting that whole program, it becomes a little bit of a dance. Holding down with one hand, picking the keepers up, putting them in and out, it's pretty frustrating. With this, you load them before you hit the compression lever, compress it, click, done, lift off. It really takes, just per valve, like several minutes off the assembly process and simplifies it quite a bit. So what we have here is a traditional lifter follower head, and we're doing the valve removal on it. Here, obviously, the head is out of the car. And so I like these pneumatic ones because they're super fast. And if you notice here, coming in, I told you I would explain to you about this little part right here. What this is this is a little protector. And this is really, really important tool right here because this goes on top of this metal head. And if this metal head nicks the sealing surface on the cylinder head, which is easy to do if you're using a pneumatic one. If you're using a manual one, it's a little bit more controlled. It's not as radical. But this is another little all German auto product. It's super inexpensive. In my book, it's a must-have. It's made out of Delron, so it cannot scratch or ruin the cylinder head in any way. On the bottom, it has a little rubber pad, so it doesn't slide. Or if that part of it should make part to the head, it's not going to scratch anything. And it just simply clips right onto the head of the valve compressor with this little clip. Stays on. Just for a couple of bucks. It's cheap insurance and super nice product. But again, you can find this on our webpage. It's called a cylinder head saver. I know there's a lot of ways differently to do it. You put tape around it to protect it. I've seen that done a lot. I've done it myself. But it always ends up going through and exposing the sharp metal edge right here in the compressor, which really, really easily can nick the head surface. On these newer heads where it's almost impossible to surface them, there's no extra material left. And this is not just for German cars. This is for every brand of car out there. So anyway, just a tiny little inexpensive thing that can really make your job a lot easier. So here we are from the valve spring side. Here we have the valve spring compressor with the little adapter going on there, and you can see the top of the head exposed. So the principle in this guy is exactly the same. You load the keepers into it and click, they go on. But a little bit different setup. This comes down in the center line. This is marked right here 6.0 because it's for a 6.0 millimeter valve stem. And it can swivel so you can adjust the tool to any angle that you need to get into the spot. But again, the angle is really not that critical. To put the keepers on, exactly the same as the other one, load them into the keeper tool, like this, and then push them onto the valve stem. Insert it into the compressor and push it on. The keepers stay in place with a little bit of grease on the stem and release the air. Lots of the cars out there on the market is using the 6mm valve stem, which is a super common valve stem size for a lot of different manufacturers, not just BMW, but Honda, Toyota, and a bunch of different brands out there. We also have a 5.5mm. This particular valve is out of a 16 valve Toyota. I know that Hyundai uses it, Nissan, Honda uses it. This is a single groove keeper, where BMW uses a 3-groove keeper, but the principle is exactly the same. Load the keepers in, put them over the valve, and they stay on. The keeper tool is available on the All German Auto site, so just go under products, go under tools, and you will find them there.